Managerial accounting focuses on planning, controlling, and decision-making. In Chapter 13, we will talk about decision-making. Making decisions is one of the basic functions of a manager. To be successful in decision-making, managers should be able to tell the difference between relevant and irrelevant data, and should be able to correctly use the relevant data in analyzing alternatives. The purpose of this chapter is to develop and use these skills in different decision-making situations. Learning Objective 1, let's identify relevant and irrelevant costs and benefits in a decision. Let's first go over key concepts in decision-making and explain some costs definition. Some cost terms are not new. We've learned in Chapter 1. Key concept number 1. Every decision involves choosing from at least two alternatives. So the first step in decision-making is to define the alternatives being considered. Key concept number 2. Once you have defined the alternatives, you need to identify the criteria for choosing among them. Relevant costs and relevant benefits should be considered when making decisions, but the irrelevant costs and irrelevant benefits should be ignored when making decisions. Key concept number 3. The key point to effective decision-making is differential analysis. We should focus on the future costs and benefits, which differ between the alternatives. Let's take a look at some terms here. Differential cost is a future cost which differs between any two alternatives. Differential revenue is future revenue which differs between any two alternatives. Incremental cost is an increase in cost between two alternatives. And avoidable cost is a cost which can be eliminated by choosing one alternative over another. Here, differential cost, differential revenue, incremental cost, intuitively, they are relevant costs. When we make decisions, we should not ignore them. Same for avoidable cost. Avoidable cost is also relevant cost. Key concept number 4. A sunk cost is a cost which has already been incurred and cannot be changed regardless of what manager decides to do. Sunk costs are always irrelevant when choosing among alternatives. They are done. They should be ignored when making decisions. Key concept number 5. Future costs and benefits, which do not differ between alternatives, are irrelevant to the decision-making process. Key concept number 6. Opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is a potential benefit which is given up when one alternative is selected over another. Opportunity costs also need to be considered when making decisions. Let's take a look at the example of identifying relevant costs. Cynthia, a Boston student, is considering visiting her friend in New York. She can drive or take the train. By car, it's 230 miles to her friend's apartment. She is trying to decide which alternative is less expensive and has gathered the following information. Let's take a look at automobile costs based on 10,000 miles driven per year. It shows annual cost over some fixed items, and we can calculate the cost per mile. For number 1, annual straight-line depreciation on car, total cost $2,800. The annual straight-line depreciation is calculated by 24,000 total cost of the car minus 10,000 salvage value divided by useful life 5 years, and we can get 2,800. And then based on 10,000 miles driven per year, we can calculate the depreciation cost per mile. 2,800 divided by 10,000 miles, and we can get $0.28. Number 2, gasoline cost per mile is calculated by dividing the price per gallon of gasoline by the number of miles per gallon of the car. We use $2.7 divided by 27, and then we can get gasoline cost per mile 0.1. Number 3, annual cost of auto insurance and license. Total cost $1,380.
This is under Chapter 13.
We divide it by 10,000 miles, and then we can get 0.138. This is the dollar amount cost per mile. Number 4, for each mile driven, maintenance and repairs cost is 0.065. Number 5, parking fees at school. For each month, parking cost is $45. Cynthia attends school 8 months of a year. So 45 times 8, and then we can get total annual parking cost, $360. We divide it by 10,000 miles, and we can get 0.036. This is parking cost for each mile. We add up together, we can get the total average cost, $0.619. In addition to automobile costs, Cynthia gathered some additional information. Reduction in resale value per mile driven, round-trip train fare, benefits of relaxing on train, cost of putting a dog in kennel while she's gone, benefit of having car in New York, hassle of parking car in New York, and per day cost of a parking car in New York. Some of these costs can be measured in dollar amount, but some cannot. Regarding automobile costs, some of the average cost of $0.619 per mile are relevant and some are not. And we will take a look at one by one. Cost of a car is irrelevant because it's a sunk cost. Cynthia has already bought the car. Annual cost of insurance is irrelevant because it does not differ between alternatives. Anyway, she needs to pay car insurance. Cost of gasoline? Yes. Cost of gasoline is avoidable if Cynthia takes the train. Cost of maintenance and repairs is relevant because in the long run, these costs depend on miles driven. More miles driven, higher likelihood maintenance and repairs are needed. Monthly school parking, it's irrelevant because it's not a differential cost. As long as Cynthia attends school, she needs to pay monthly parking. Now let's take a look at some additional information. Decline in resale value due to additional miles? Yes, it's relevant. The more miles driven, the lower resale value. The round-trip train fare is relevant because it's avoidable if Cynthia drives the car to New York. Relaxing on the train is relevant, but it's difficult to quantify dollar amount. The kennel cost is irrelevant because it's not a differential cost. As long as Cynthia is away, she needs to put her dog in the kennel. Cost of parking in New York? Yes, because it's avoidable if Cynthia takes the train. Benefits of having a car in New York and the problem of finding a parking space in New York. Both are relevant, but it's difficult to quantify them. And now let's take a look at some numbers from a financial standpoint. We can calculate the total dollar amount if Cynthia drives to New York. For gasoline, 460 miles, keep in mind this is a round trip, So 230 miles multiplied by 2, and we can get 460 miles. Multiplied by $0.1 per mile, and we can get the total gasoline cost 46. We can calculate for maintenance, reduction in resale, and parking in New York. And we can get the total cost of driving $137.86. If Sincere takes the train to New York, the round-trip ticket, $104. Obviously, Sincere would be better off taking the train to visit her friend. The cost is lower. Well, when Sincere makes her decision, some of the non-financial factors may affect her decision. So she will make her final decision based on both financial and non-financial factors. Let's take a look at another example, and we will analyze it using total and differential cost approaches. The management of a company is considering a new labor-saving machine, which rents for $3,000 per year. Data about the company's annual sales and costs with and without the new machine are as following. Using total cost approach, we create a contribution income statement for two alternatives. For current situation without a new machine and the situation with new machine, recall contribution income statement. We start from sales minus variable expenses, and then we can get a contribution margin, minus fixed expenses, and then we can get net operating income. Here, with new machine, direct labor can save $3 per unit, $5 per unit for new machine, compared to $8 without a new machine. So with new machine, total variable expenses can be saved by $15,000, and this is differential benefit. However, fixed expenses increase by $3,000. This is differential cost. Total net operating income with new machine will increase by $12,000. So the manager will make the decision to rent a new labor-saving machine because net operating income will increase. The more efficient way of analyzing this decision is to use the differential cost approach. We can take a look at the differential costs and revenues only, and we will arrive at the same solution. Let's take a look at here. Direct labor costs decrease by $15,000. For each unit, labor cost can save $3. So total 5,000 units can save $15,000. Fixed rental expenses increase by $3,000. And the difference here is net annual cost saving from renting the new machine, $12,000. So the manager should rent the new machine.